welcome to this edition of the Diversity Dialogue. With me, I have today's guest, Anthony Hannon, who is the, I need to make sure I get the title right, CEO Action for Racial Equity Fellow at Mass Mutual.
Right.
All right. Okay.
One of six.
Okay. So why don't we start off with that? I mean, this is a clearly not a title that is very usual, but at the same time, I think it is, as you said, you're one of six. So talk a little bit about how this came about. What's the driver behind this, and we can dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and, having the opportunity to speak on diversity, equity, inclusion. So CEO Action for Racial Equity is a fellowship that was started by PwC last year, 2020, followed the events of George Floyd's murder and was quickly created a fellowship. It's over 100 companies with about 220 fellows representing those companies. Like I mentioned before, Mass Mutual provided 6 fellows for a 2-year fellowship focused on racial equity in the Black and African American community. Taking a step back, PwC had created another coalition, a signatory coalition, not necessarily a fellowship, called CEO Action for Diversity and Inclusion. That was in, I believe, 2017. And the task there was for those signatory companies to look into their respective companies, focus on diversity and inclusion in their respective companies, however that looked, whatever they wanted to focus on, that they focused on, and then they had that coalition to, bounce ideas off of and learnings, so on and so forth. The fellowship with racial equity kind of takes it a step further. Obviously, it's outward looking into the Black and African American communities, that we go home to, right, every single day, and focus on those racial inequities. We focus our efforts in 4 pillars: education, economic empowerment, healthcare, and public safety. So what we did was last year, October 1st was our kickoff date. We all got together. We kind of learned about some of the inequities that occurred today in the country. We were split up into different pods within one of those 4 pillars. And we did a lot of, we call it ideation phase, but a lot of research, right? And kind of think about like a think tank, how a think tank approaches things, but also driving and creating solutions for some of the issues that we were coming up with, right? So lack of access to childcare, lack of funding for historically Black colleges and universities, so on and so forth. And so we spent about 4 to 6 months doing that and going through this phased approach process, presenting back to the fellowship the issues we've identified, our proposed solutions, how we can go back to the signatories who contributed fellows to assist, either lending their voice in terms of supporting public policies that address some of these issues, or in terms of what we call social contracts, where the company is kind of taking up the flag for some of these issues in terms of, opening up the checkbook, providing internship opportunities, advancing or continuing engagements in particular areas that help the Black and African American community. Earlier this year, I believe May this year, we announced our agenda. So we have 8 public policy ideas, 3 social contract ideas that we're moving forward on. And right now we're like in the execution phase of getting these things implemented, talking to a lot of CEOs, their government relations departments, their government affairs departments, and identifying like where we can have that support for some of those public policy ideas, and then engaging the companies for the social contract ideas for how we can increase the engagement with business diversity, with increasing engagement with the historically Black colleges and universities, and then fair chance hiring, essentially, for formerly incarcerated individuals.
Wow, you guys are doing so much. So one of the questions, again, given the intersect that we have between cybersecurity and DEI, right? A lot of times these initiatives stall because of many reasons, right? But one of the ones that typically stand out is the business driver. And I've talked to lots of people about it, and definitely there seems to be an enormous business value of diversity when it comes to cybersecurity, right? So given the research that you have done, I mean, what have you uncovered in terms of like, how do you get people to embrace this from a business first standpoint versus saying, hey, let's do good, which is obviously a different pillar to kind of go after as well?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's something so I'm on the HBCU team, driving that engagement there. And it's something that we talk about a lot. And as much as we'd like for companies to engage and give out of the goodness of their heart, because like you said, it is the right thing to do, we understand that that's not realistic, right? Like there's a business, there's a bottom line. And, while the attention is squarely on the Black community today, and it has been last year, we understand that that's going to drop off, right? Something else is going to happen. It's just going to fade, right? So the way we're approaching it is from that business case standpoint, right? What is the business going to get back? What's the benefit to the business, to the bottom line of having that diverse workforce? Because we know, especially in cybersecurity, we're facing diverse, unique threats, the changing threat landscape all the time, and you need a diverse workforce, diverse cybersecurity organization to think differently, right? Who have different backgrounds to solve these unique situations. And so that's the discussions we have with some of these signatories, in that it's not about charity, right? It's not about just giving and you get nothing in return. You're making your business better by engaging this diverse workforce, by tapping into these talent pools that haven't been tapped into at the level that they should be in the past.